Hello, I'm Lee Sanders. We hope you and your loved ones are safe as we learn to live through these unique and challenging times. Although my routines continue to change, I still talk with lots of people who love high school sports. We wanted to share some of these conversations in order to build community, focus on high school sports topics of interest to officials and others, connect our coaches and officials, and chat with talented Louisianians who are passionate supporters of our officiating community. Thanks for listening to The Right Call. We hope you enjoy today's discussion about communicating with coaches. We will hear from Brian Wynne, Harry Jenkins, and Michael Silver.
Harry, let's talk about questioning with coaches. What works?
What works for me is just asking the coach if you know what the rule is. I mean, the biggest controversy we have is block charge. And a coach will come to me and say, that has to be a block. He was moving. And I say, Coach, you have to move to play defense. Where was he moving, Coach? Oh, he was moving backwards. Well, Coach, if he's moving backwards, who initiated the contact? He has a right to move backwards. He can't move forward. So I have to be very selective in how I have that conversation because I don't want to talk down to a coach intentionally and don't want to belittle a coach. But sometimes in order to get your point across in you asking them a question, you realize that they're not well informed. So I have to kind of dance around that and to get my point across, but also put in a question for them because I need them to get educated. If I have credibility in my regular season because the coach know who I am or any other veteran, then I'm able to discuss a play with them. He may not like the answer, but it's rule-based. I'm not going to give my opinion. I'm going to give the rule. And I am not afraid to say, Coach, you're right. You're right. And if he is right,
that goes a long
I'm done.
way.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. All right. So I'm not afraid to say that. You know, Coach, I see what you're saying. You're right. We blew it. I can't unring the bell. We're going to move forward going here. We're going to continue to work hard for you and go from there.
Michael, questioning with coaches. What works?
Just questioning in general. Generally, if they make a statement, if you can ask a question back that, one, causes them just to pivot and maybe take a breath for a second so we understand and have a chance to kind of go back and forth in a respectable manner. Two, sometimes if you can question with a rules-based question and response, it may make them think just long enough to say, you know what, maybe I don't quite know what this rule is exactly. So what can we do that's just really something, again, it's different in basketball and baseball, some of the areas where you can have longer conversations. In soccer especially, everything's got to be quick. So it's got to be a quick question, and then you may not even really be where you can have any interaction with the coach again for another 10 minutes. So that helps you most of the time, but I warn that saying the wrong thing or giving some smart aleck response or screaming back at a coach and then not being able to be around them for 10 minutes generally will lead to the next 10 minutes being a nightmare. So again, it's got to be a question that does something to help them think about it and put water on the situation instead of gasoline.
And silence is never misquoted and doesn't pour any gasoline. So, guys, when coaches become especially challenging, what works, Brian?
Well, like I said, I'll pull out my lineup and go talk to them, and we're standing side by side so people don't know what we're talking about. And I'll tell them, Coach, you know, you're complaining about balls and strikes, and by rule, you're not allowed to do that, or whatever he's complaining about. Or
why did you say you stand side by side? Talk about the physical proximity of you to the coach while you try to manage that interaction.
Well, it's not going to be confrontational. If we're standing chest to chest, that's going to be confrontational. You know, you can always, that's when you start to finger poke and things like that, or bump somebody with the bill of your cap, and you don't want to bump you. If I stand side by side, people have no idea what we're talking about, but he can hear me clearly. And that's when I especially take advantage of the fact that I'm somewhat soft-spoken, and I'm going to speak right into his ear so he can hear me, so he knows exactly what I'm talking about. And like I said, I'll ask him, Coach, if you can take care of it, I'd appreciate it. But if you don't, I will. And stand on your word and do what you say you will. I wouldn't say, you know, Michael brought it up a minute ago. anything smart alecky. It's okay to think it, but don't say it. Don't ever threaten one more word. I use, coach, I've heard enough. I'll tell them to knock it off. And they generally get what knock it off means. But never tell them to shut up. Never tell them anything smart
Never
alecky.
tell them to shut up, yeah. Think it like you said, but don't say it. And they can hear it if you whisper it under your mask. Don't think they can't.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times you can use the mask. If I don't ever take the mask off from behind the plate to talk to a dugout. If I look at the dugout, I'm going to leave the mask on and talk to them. That's just baseball. But I try and talk to him side by side, and then whatever, give him an opportunity to save himself. And then oftentimes an assistant coach might say, I thought you were going to get rid of him sooner after if an ejection happens and they happen to talk to you afterwards. But you try and keep people in the game, but you don't let them abuse you. You don't let them embarrass you. You don't let them show you up. And as long as they're professional, we'll be professional.
Harry, when coaches become especially challenging, give us some tips.
The first tip is the rule book dictates that we have two things we can do, warning and or technical fouls. Where personally, I think is a third one. I think it's an unofficial warning. There are times when this coach is out the box, walk him back and talk. As the coach, I heard enough. I need you in the box, and you have to stop refereeing. All right, I heard it. I'm done. Okay, that goes for you and your bench. And I walk away. It's not going to be a dialogue. I say what he had to say. I heard it. I'm done. And this is just an unofficial warning. And if that doesn't fix it, then I'm going to go to my official warning. And I think the official warning serves two purposes: the targeted coach and the other coach. The other coach is going to realize he don't play. I heard it. I see where he drew a line in the sand. I need not to cross that line in the sand. And when you make that warning and the whole gym just becomes silent and you putting it in the book, you talking about the time, the quarter, official warning, my partners know about it, everybody saw it, that 10 seconds there, you got the game back in control. Now, if the coach act a fool, every knucklehead fan is going to say, he warned them. So that's a tool that has to be used. You have to be patient. I mean, it's not about who has the last word. You have to be patient and just exercise what's best for that game, for that coach, for that situation.
Yeah, give the game what it needs. Michael.
From an assigner standpoint, there's something that I go over with our officials every year in both basketball and soccer. The vast majority of our games are filmed in today's day and age. So there are a few things you need to remember about that. One, as Harry talks about giving them the unofficial warning and everything, I remind our guys, I want to see the universal stop sign on film. Because if I get a call from a coach as an assigner who says, oh, I was shotgunned from a game, I got 2 technicals back to back, or got a technical out of nowhere, and I see that 3 minutes earlier he was given the universal stop sign, I can't hear what that conversation was, because that's just between the two of you. But everybody in the gym and the film can see that universal stop sign. So that goes a long way toward, one, giving a visual cue. It's not anything that can be disputed. Nobody can say that you weren't given a stop sign. And 2, it's also not saying anything, so you can't misquote silence. But I kind of go back to something one of my grandfathers has always told me. When you're in a public area or when you're writing things back and forth with people, or you're in a game situation where anybody could be filming you with a cell phone, remember, don't say anything that you wouldn't mind reading on the front page of the paper the next day. So as you're dealing with coaches, while oftentimes we want to say something that maybe is a little bit more toward the edge because what we may be getting may be kind of a little bit over the line, we have to remember that we have to respond in a professional, calm manner, and rules-based, and also nothing that we wouldn't be willing to type out and see on the front page of the paper the next day.
Exactly, because everybody has a cell phone and everybody is an expert at officiating. All right, guys, we're going to do this kind of different here. You got 20 seconds each one, so these are going to be quick pitches. Just let's rip and roll through it. All right, you ready? What do you love most about officiating, Brian?
Camaraderie with other officials, plus being around the kids and the coaches and seeing their hard work produce good plays on the field.
Harry.
Being recognized by a player outside a basketball venue, that's nice. Hey, you're a ref. They may not know my name, but it's like, oh, you're a ref. I like that. That goes a long way for me.
Michael.
Having the opportunity to give back and stay connected with sports that I loved growing up, in addition to building relationships and friendships that'll last a lifetime.
What do you value most in your partners during a game, Brian?
Hard work, and then I know they've got my back. I'd like to have a certain level of confidence in them, but knowing they got my back and they're working out there hard and they enjoy it as much as I do.
Harry.
Willingness to accept when you're wrong, rule-based, rule knowledge, and as Brian said, have my back.
Michael.
Trust and open, honest feedback and willingness to work hard. Want to know if I say, hey, did I miss this? Or if I say, hey, you missed that, I want that open, honest feedback, because we're all about getting better. And if we just tell everybody what we want to hear, then none of us are ever getting any better or being held accountable.
How has officiating made you better, Brian?
I think it's helped me become a better communicator and try and be more fair and understanding of people's situations that I have authority over.
Harry?
It helped me to become patient with people. Everybody's not the same. Just understand everybody has a right to an opinion. Everybody sees things through their own lenses, and I have to respect that. And just being patient, this helped me to be patient in my everyday walk of life.
Michael.
Becoming an official when you're 12 brings on a whole another set of challenges. So it really helped me develop the ability to communicate with people that are older than me, that have been around longer, that are more experienced than me. Obviously the players, but just learning how to communicate with people that otherwise probably know a whole lot more than you, and then being able to learn from those around you.
What do you value most in coaches while you work their game, Brian?
Well, it's something I don't get to see is the amount of hard work they put in with all their kids on their team and how it translates on the field to either victories or further in life helping those kids mature and become good men.
Harry.
Holding kids responsible. When I hear a coach say, yeah, that was a foul, that goes a long way for a referee. It really does. I like that. It's teaching the kid responsibility. It's not the referee's fault. That was a foul. Stop that. I love that.
Michael.
Respect and understanding. Respect for officials, respect for the players that he or she is coaching, understanding of mistakes that all the different parties on the field or court will make during the game, and the ability to communicate effectively with players as well as referees. Some are the best to work for ever as referees, but I would never want to play for that coach. And the same is true the other way. Some are terrible on referees, but they're the world's best coach as far as from a player standpoint. So I think finding that balance of where you've got that coach that's good both ways with all parties involved during a game.
Favorite food, Brian? Describe the perfect meal.
I think it's a chicken and sausage gumbo for me.
Harry?
Red beans and smothered chicken.
Michael?
Probably chicken and onion. Some sort of chicken and some sort of onion seems to be almost daily for me.
What do you value most in a crew chief, Brian?
Leadership and ability to work with people and motivate people and be a successful mentor to the people in the crew.
Harry?
Approachable and patient.
Michael?
Willingness to help others and a willingness to take the blame for something that may be a crew blame thing just to prevent someone else from getting lambasted.
What do you find most challenging about dealing with coaches, Brian?
Sometimes it's trying to evaluate their level or knowledge of the game in order to give them a proper response that they'll understand that'll be effective for them.
Harry?
Most coaches don't realize their behavior is the team's behavior. And they got these teenagers in their hand, and they can teach them one way or teach them another way. I wish coaches would understand the impact they have on ball players and how that translates to them in life.
Michael.
Having coaches who are really along the lines as what Harry's saying, having coaches that don't understand that it makes our jobs very difficult to keep players in line and keep players all working together as a team to just play the game when the behavior that's being displayed is so far from what we would expect in society or in the classrooms or just on the courts or fields.
One tip for knowing when a coach crosses the line, Brian?
I think if he embarrasses you or shows you up such to the fact that the fans can determine it and they jump in and continue to rag on you, I guess.
Harry, how do you know when a coach crosses the line?
If he suggested that we are cheating, he crossed the line.
Michael?
Cheating kind of is my main one there, or foul and abusive language, something that is public and provocative, something that's right there quiet where it's only the two of us is a lot different than a public provocative comment.
Why is it important for official crew in general to think about how they get on and off the field at halftime and after the game, and then where they position themselves during dead balls, Brian?
Well, I think you want to do everything you can not to put gas on the fire and to avoid any kind of possible confrontation from anybody who has a question about a ruling you made that possibly had gone against them.
Harry?
Walking away at halftime, if the coach approaches you, tell him to go to his dugout or wherever. I'm sorry, not his dugout, but to his room. And after the game, that's how they feel. You don't have to have the last word. You don't have to say anything. Grab your stuff and go. Nothing's good going to happen if you stay there and entertain the coach after a game.
Michael?
In soccer, we say that nothing good ever happens while the ball's not in play. So stay away from situations. Halftime, get out of there. After the game, get out of there. We have a dead ball situation where you've got a coach that's saying a bunch to you, get the ball back in play. It's amazing when the ball's in play, there's a whole lot less that we have to deal with than when we've got situations. Make an escape plan, get out of there. Nothing good ever happens after a game's over.
Thanks for listening. Stay safe and stay tuned for more conversations with our officiating community.